Yes man, I go by the name Hope Kid the General, Mr. Big Deal, new school dancehall pioneer, and I'm humbled to be your amazing host from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. each and every Saturday with DJ Tabs, the head girl, and we'll be having amazing conversation with some of the leading guest line here on this show.
Join us
each and every Saturday.
Too much. I can't keep this to myself anymore.
If Nazario loses his memory, I'll end up empty. He is everything to me.
The only thing you'll provoke is more gossip. If Alonso finds out, we'll get into trouble.
Well, you're the one who caused these problems.
Rodrigo convinced me to come back to him. He told me that he loved me and that somebody was trying to separate us, you know?
You know what she did after he left her standing at the altar? She told all of us that we had to celebrate the fact that she had been saved from marrying a fool like you.
Why don't you stop beating around the bush and tell me, what's wrong?
Nora, you're pregnant.
Mbona mkaamua kuoana mapema hivi?
Ma, tumekuwa wapenzi kwa muda wa mwaka mmoja sasa.
Mwaka mmoja? Lakini mbona hujasema lolote?
Uliingiaje hapa?
Wataka kuwa jambazi? Basi usiniulize hilo swali.
Endelea nyanya. Nasikia kuwa kifagio kipya ufagia vyema kuliko kile cha zamani.
Mimi sishindani nawe.
Mlikuwa naye. Mbona hukumuua?
Kila mwisho wa juma kwenye runinga yako ya KBC Channel 1.
Tunakuletea Mkulima.
Ni kipindi cha kila mtu.
Iwe wewe ni mkulima mdogo, mkulima mkubwa, muuzaji au mnunuzi,
au yeyote anayenuia kuanzisha kilimo ama ufugaji.
Tunaanza kwa mbinu bora na za kisasa za kilimo, ufugaji,
fursa za kibiashara, kuongeza thamani, pamoja na teknolojia za kuboresha kilimo.
Ni chakula ambao kwetu sisi inatuletea mapato mazuri, watoto wanasoma vizuri.
Mkulima kisasa inakupa maarifa,
motisha na suluhu za kurahisisha mazao,
kuongeza kipato na kulisha taifa kwa ujumla.
Tazama Mkulima kila Jumamosi saa 10:30,
ambapo kilimo na fursa zinapatikana.
Mkulima, tuko hapa kwa ajili yako.
Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice, we
have to do it twice.
Hata kani kuchapa. How do you kuchapa ni kuchoma mtoto?
Between me and your mother, ni nani mkali?
Ninyi wote.
Unaona generation vile inakaa?
Si generation, anauliza swali kulingana na vile nyinyi mko.
Ndio maana huwa nakapiga. Nini?
Unakapiga?
Ulimupiga ndiye ni ukajua mimi ndio msasi wake.
Were you there?
I was not there.
Thank you very much. So why do you feel pain? You see, she was your baby.
Toto ni ya jamii.
Jamii
alikuwa. Umita mtoto na sisi akae kando.
Mtoto amefukuziwa school fees, sio wa jamii.
The University of Kabianga invites all graduates, students, parents, and the general public to the 13th graduation ceremony to be held on Friday, 14th November 2025 at Ruto on the University of Kabianga main grounds, starting at 8:30 a.m. The University Chancellor will confer various degrees and diplomas to the graduates. Follow this event live on KBC Channel 1. All are welcome.
Good evening and welcome to Prime Edition. It's Wednesday, the middle of the week. I'm Carren, Kibbet, holding fort for John Jacob Kioria. Now tonight we bring you the day's top stories from across the globe, from breaking developments on the international front to the latest updates shaping our region. We also have a look at what's driving the world of business, plus all the action from the world of sports coming your way later in the bulletin. This is Prime Edition. Let's get started. Here are the highlights.
Mimi nataka tu niwahakikishie watu wa Ukambani, watu wa Emali, watu wa Makueni, mimi nimeamua. Mnanielewa? Mimi nimeamua kwa vyovyote, mbele na nyuma, kulia na kushoto, juu na chini, hii Ukambani haiwezi kukaa upinzani tena. Hapana.
Charm offensive. President Ruto unveils a record 13 billion shillings development projects in the Lower Eastern.
The situation is so dire that our missions are constantly rescuing citizens.
Grass not greener abroad after all. The body of a Kenyan teacher shot dead during post-election violence in Tanzania yet to be found. It is not financially tenable. Public Service CS Geoffrey Ruto defends move to commercialize the National Youth Service. And trading daughters for survival. Families in Marsabit face impossible choices as drought worsens. Welcome to Prime Edition. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Anne Wangeshi. Now, the Kenyan government says it is yet to locate the body of John Ogutu, the Kenyan teacher who was shot and killed at the height of post-election violence in Tanzania. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi says Ogutu died at the Goba Center in Ubungo district of Dar es Salaam. 8 other Kenyans who have been arrested and detained in police stations across Tanzania have, however, been released. Pressure has been mounting on the government to address the disappearance of Kenyans abroad, including those said to have been trafficked to fight alongside Russian forces in Ukraine.
After weeks of Kenyans asking the whereabouts of their loved ones who have fallen victim to the Russia-Ukraine war, the deadly protests in Tanzania, and the human trafficking reports of Kenyans in Southeast Asia.
The situation is so dire that our missions are constantly rescuing citizens.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has now confirmed that a Kenyan died during Tanzania's general election on the 29th of October 2025, with 8 arrested.
8 Kenyans arrested in the different in different police stations across Tanzania have now been released. 3 Kenyans are still being held, 2 in Arusha and 1 in Dar es Salaam police station. A Kenyan by the name John Ogutu was shot dead on 29th October at around 7 p.m. in Goba Center, Ubungo district in Dar es Salaam. His body has not been traced to date.
On the Russia-Ukraine war, Musalia noted that the administration is in talks with Russia and Ukraine to ensure the Kenyans who are taken to the front line of the war are repatriated back to the country.
It is estimated that recruitment networks are still active in both Kenya and Russia. The Kenyan embassy in Moscow has reported injuries among nationals and others stranded.
There is no prohibition against a non-national to serve within the Russian military if they do so voluntarily.
Musalia says intelligence sources have indicated that victims of the war are reportedly signing contracts with unscrupulous agencies with the promises of a payment of up to $18,000, which is 2.7 million Kenyan shillings for visas, travel and accommodation.
It is our knowledge and our understanding that some Kenyans who are on the front lines serving as part of the Russian military were apprehended and are being held as prisoners of war.
Further, the Foreign Affairs CS notes that the human trafficking situation in Southeast Asia, particularly for Kenyans, is concerning and largely driven by the rise of forced criminality in online scam compounds,
including forced labor, online scamming, illegal cryptocurrency trade, and even the horrific prospect of human organ harvesting.
The ministry has further downplayed President Yoweri Museveni's remarks that activist Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo were kept in a fridge during their 38 days of detention in Uganda.
It is my belief that President Museveni was speaking metaphorically rather than to suggest that there was anything that was done in the manner in which he described it.
Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
President William Ruto has launched a full-throttle charm offensive in Ukambani, unveiling a record 13 billion shillings development package in Makueni County and urging the region to abandon opposition politics. Speaking on his first day of his working tour in the region, Ruto declared that Ukambani must be part of his government's progressive agenda.
Makueni County was the first stop in the 4-day working tour of a president in the larger Ukambani region. The head of state said the region must outgrow the opposition tag.
Hii Ukambani haitabaki nyuma tena going forward. Na nataka tena msikie vizuri. Sio ya kwamba haitabaki nyuma peke yake wakati huu. Hata hiyo wakati ingine serikali haiwezi kuundwa. Mimi siwezi kuunda serikali inayofuata bila ya watu wa Ukambani.
As an expression of his interest in working with the region, Ruto announced a 2 billion allocation towards power connectivity in the county.
Na tunataka kuunganisha nyumba 18,000 mpya between now and June next year. Kati ya sasa na mwezi wa 6 mwaka ujao, tunataka kuunganisha wananchi wa Makueni 18,000 kwa mambo ya stima. Ndio tuweze kulete mwangaza sehemu hii, ama mnatakaje watu wa Ukambani?
The president also unveiled an 11 billion shillings investment to be directed to the affordable housing project, the construction of markets and hostels.
We are committing 11 billion shillings to construct affordable housing, to do markets, to do hostels in Makueni County, the first ever done by any administration in independent Kenya, because we want Makueni to be part of the development of our nation.
Agenda za hapa ni 3 kama zile zako. KU, maji, water.
Ruto also took a swipe at the opposition once more, accusing them of running a campaign premised on tribalism and malice.
Mtu anachaguliwa kwa ile kazi amefanya ama anachaguliwa kwa sura yake? Mtu anachaguliwa kwa sababu gani? Kwa sura ama kwa kazi? Kwa sura ama kwa kazi? Kwa fitina ama kwa kazi? Kwa chuki ama kwa kazi? Kwa ukabila ama kwa kazi? Si kila kiongozi anachaguliwa kwa kazi.
Wale wanashindana na sisi, mupunguze mambo ya ukabila na chuki na kisirani, tuongee mambo ya sera. Sisi tukiongea mambo ya stima na barabara na masoko, na nyinyi mkuje muongee sera yenu. Wacheni kuleta chuki, ukabila na kisirani kwa wananchi.
Kwa muda mrefu Mheshimiwa Rais, tumedanganywa. Tunaambiwa ati tukae ngumu, ati itakuwa nzuri hapo mbele. Sisi tunasema tutaki mambo kukaa ngumu. Tumechoka na siasa ya umaskini, tunataka siasa ya maendeleo.
The president launched the Mikuyu Bridge and issued title deeds in Kasikeu and Emali, and also inspected the ongoing construction of roads and the affordable housing project in Wote, Makueni County. As the clock ticks towards the 2027 general elections, President William Ruto says the choices for 2027 are clear. He says the opposition represents the retrogressive force, while he says he's the only progressive voice in the race. John Jacob Curia, Prime Edition.
Thank you, Kira, for that report. Now, news just in. A notification from the Speaker, Right Honourable Moses Wetangula, is that the Member of Parliament for Isiolo South constituency has passed on. Mr. Tubi Bidu Mohammed passed on this evening, Wednesday 12th November 2025, while receiving treatment at the Nairobi Hospital. Until his demise, the Honourable Tubi Bidu served as a Member of Parliament of the Departmental Committee on Environment, Forestry and Mining and the Public Petitions Committee. The Honourable Tubi was serving his first term as a member of the House. Previously, he was the inaugural Speaker of the Isiolo County Assembly, where he diligently served until 2017. Now, as we come to terms with this great loss, let us remember Honourable Tubi for his remarkable service and his positive impact he had on our nation. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family, friends, constituents, and all those who had the privilege of knowing him. May his soul rest in eternal peace. More details to follow in our subsequent bulletins as from tomorrow morning. May his soul rest in peace. Moving on, the government has defended its move to commercialize the National Youth Service, saying training of paramilitary and vocational for the youth can no longer depend entirely on exchequer financing. Cabinet Secretary for Public Service Geoffrey Ruku, while appearing before the Senate on Wednesday, said the current training of youth at the institution costs 10 billion shillings annually, saying the initiative will help cut the costs by 4 billion shillings if well implemented. However, senators raised concerns about the initiative's viability and its justification across various aspects, including its effectiveness in curbing youth unemployment.
With plans to commercialize the National Youth Service through the establishment of a National Youth Service Enterprises and the Services Company to act as commercial arm of the NYS, Cabinet Secretary for Public Service Geoffrey Ruku Wednesday told the Senate that the program seeks to fully utilize the institution's resources to increase its revenue, employment, and sustainability.
For many who are not lucky to get opportunities, to get jobs, these are the ones now, the new company, which we are registering, will take advantage of to utilize their skills in construction, those who are trained in construction, those who are trained in agriculture.
Currently, the government trains 18,000 youth annually at a budget of 10 billion. The target is, however, to raise the numbers to 100,000. CS Ruku says the institution has limited funds and hence the commercialization will fill the gap by raising approximately 4 billion annually.
National Service has fast land in different parts of the country, and most of the land is not utilized. And that's why we are coming in with a limited company so that commercial activities, commercial farming activities can take place.
Senators, however, questioned the justification in commercializing the institution.
Nakumbuka miaka ya 80 na miaka 90 walikuwa wanafanya biashara ya transport, mabasi ya National Youth Service. Na baada ya muda mabasi yale yalisimama na serikali ikawa imepata hasara kubwa. Kwa hivyo sio mara ya kwanza kwamba ni jambo jipya lilifanyika. Na je, wizara imejifunza kutokana na makosa yale yaliyotokea?
Totally different business model. It is not the model which was implemented those years of transportation or buses and other business which maybe National Service trying to do. It's a completely new way of thinking, is a complete paradigm shift.
Concerns around the viability of the program were also raised, especially around accommodating the thousands of youth in the job market.
As the CS look at the revenue streams for that product, because we don't want a situation whereby a company is going to be formed to do everything in this country, to grow ash avocado, to go and grow sugar cane.
The company will implement business plans on mechanization, construction, agriculture, agro-processing, textile and garment production, hospitality, as well as security services, Mr. Speaker.
The registration of the company is currently at the Attorney General's office. Kamchemenza for Prime Edition.
Now, as drought deepens in the country's arid north, desperation is forcing families into painful choices. In the North Hor, Marsabit County, some parents are marrying off their young daughters, some barely in their teens, just to survive. The livestock is gone, food is scarce, and for many, her daughter's bride price has become the remaining bargaining chip. Children caught between tradition, poverty, and a changing climate. Tonight in Drought Diaries, Ben Chumba reports from Marsabit on the silent cost of survival, how drought is stealing the innocence and future of young girls.
The sun is unforgiving here. This is North Hor, Marsabit County. The land is dry, the wells are empty, and so are the stomachs of many residents. For many families, hunger is no longer news. It is a daily reality.
Girls as young as 12 are married off. They say they do not have a choice. Not because of culture, but for survival. Families here says they need the bride price, more camels, more food to keep the rest of the children alive.
Sasa saa ingine mtu iko na njaa, mtu anakuja kuomba mtoto. Si lazima atasema wacha nisaidike nipate chakula kukula ndio wacha hata nipatiane msichana wangu, kwa sababu kimilo yetu inahusu msichana na mtu anapata ng'ombe. Anapata kama ng'ombe 8. Sasa anasema sasa wengine wanasaidika, kwa hiyo ndio wacha niuse mmoja nipate faida kwa ile wengine basi wasikufe na njaa.
Among those paying the highest price are girls, some as young as 12 years. Are being traded for food, for survival.
Sasa zingine unaamua unapeana msichana yako mmoja ama wawili waolewe na familia ambayo iko na ng'ombe ndio upate ng'ombe ya kulisha wengine wadogo.
We meet Naima, not her real name. Her baby is strapped to her back. She is a mother of 2, yet still a child herself. She was married off at just 13. Her parents, she says, had no choice. The goats were dead and there was nothing left to eat.
Kwa hivyo nikapatiwa msee ile kuna mali ndio wasasi yangu wapate kitu kulisha watoto wengine na kusomesha naye. Sisi tuko tu wengi kimila ya hapa tu ndio inakaa hivyo, watu wanaolewa ukiwa kidogo ndio wengine wapate kusaidika hivyo.
In her village she is not alone. Elders admit it is an old practice and now revived by desperation.
Unapata mzee ako na watoto, ako na nyumba kama boma 2, 2 wives or even 3 wives. Ameishiwa na mifugo, hana hata ng'ombe moja, hana ngamia moja, hana mbuzi moja, na watoto wamejaa kwa nyumba, wadogo na wakubwa. So unapata hizo shida ziko hapa mingi. This is not because of cultural things, it's because of hunger and poverty. Imesumbua watu wetu sana.
Activists in the area say the drought has worsened the vulnerability of girls across Marsabit and other drought-hit regions.
Juzi tulizuia harusi karibu 5 wasichana hawajaolewa, tulipeleka shule. Na kukeketa wasichana pia tunawazuia sana. Siku hizi, zamani Wagabra wanasema hii ni mambo ya mila yetu lazima tufanye, lakini at this time iko changamoto mingi, lakini sio mbaya kama zamani.
In some areas, when schools close, girls are married off and never return to class. Here, talk of the drought always leads back to daughters and tough decisions no parent wants to make. One mother says she resisted the pressure.
Ninayo watoto 10 na nimesomesha, mmoja tu ndo sijasomesha kwa sababu iko na shida tu yeye mwenyewe, kwa roho yake tu si mzuri kabili. Kwa hivyo wengine bado wanasoma na wengine wamemaliza kusoma.
But not all have that choice. For those without livestock, food aid or income, daughters have become the only remaining hope. Government officials say they are working with local leaders and relief agencies to distribute food and raise awareness.
The chiefs have been doing a good work of giving the information. Then we act by sending officers and rescuing the girls, taking them to school. But sometimes we take them to Marsabit so that their kins do not access them, because if they are closer, sometimes you find they come to kidnap them or run away with them.
Tumewafundisha sana na tumechukua hatua mingi sana. At least sasa hata wakisikia mambo ya kuolewa msichana wadogo wanashtuka kwa sababu wanaogopa serikali.
Still, in villages deep in the desert, help is taking long to arrive, and until it does, more girls risk losing their futures.
Nilikuwa kama nimesoma, ningekuwa mwalimu, ningesaidia wasasi. Sasa wasichana wale wanasoma saa hii, mimi naambia muendelee msome ndio mpate hata nyinyi makasi, msaidie wasasi. Kwa sababu saa hii mimi nimepita hiyo, sasa nimeolewa, bado hiyo wakati imenipita. Lakini nyinyi wale bado mnasoma, muendelee vizuri msome. Ndio mpate hiyo makasi ya daktari ama mwalimu ama kasi nyingine kubwa.
For Naima and many like her, the rains will come someday, but the innocence lost due to drought will never return. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
And Ben Chumba's report leads us to a fast short break right here on Prime Edition. Don't go too far. We will be back with more reports.
Africa is converging in Nairobi. The 25th East Africa MSMEs Trade Fair is officially underway at Uhuru Gardens, bringing together over 3,000 enterprises from the 8 East Africa partner states, showcasing the very best in innovation, creativity, culture, and enterprise. Come explore groundbreaking products, connect with entrepreneurs from across the region, and experience 10 days of vibrant trade, culture, and opportunity at the Uhuru Gardens, Nairobi. Entry is absolutely free. See you there.
Who will care about legends? Who to use at the end of the club? But here he is, somebody who is concerned about welfare of the retired players.
I also made him aware about the challenges I was facing, which was my school fees arrears over my time, and he has paid for me now. Until now, I'm near now to complete my high school.
God sent an angel who is a Owal. He came through tulikuwa mbaya sana, as in terms of to travel, hatuna hiyo as in hiyo tracksuit ya travel.
What clicked is just finance. Free treatment to the community. Here we associate it with bigger and bigger things.
Welcome back to Prime Edition. Now, Kenya is banking on collaboration with global accreditation bodies to address barriers to trade and investment. The Kenya Accreditation Services says it has signed various memorandum of understanding with a number of countries to enhance conformity assessment and align Kenyan accreditation with international standards. Kenya's Chief Executive Officer Walter Ongeti says lack of standardized conformity assessment is curtailing trade in Africa, calling on the continent through the African Union to work in unison to unlock Africa's trade potential.
Hula, yes. Hula or hula. We don't have the
Together more than 300 delegates from around the world, Kenya's Chief Executive Officer Walter Ongeti said that the 3 days conference is supposed to spur a candid conversation of how best accreditation bodies can adapt to emerging technologies in the sector to improve quality of goods and services. Kenya already has signed various memorandums with a number of countries to enhance conformity assessment and drive trade. Sentiments echoed by the Director of Asia Pacific Accreditation Corporation, who emphasized on the advantages of collaborations.
So this memorandum of understanding is to be able to share knowledge together, to also have technical exchanges from time to time, and also to improve in the methods within which we undertake our assessments.
It helps both the products that go from Kenya to other countries worldwide to be recognized for their conformity without additional tests and inspections.
Efforts to amend some of the regulations and laws to align with the global competitiveness are also currently being worked on.
The ministry is to support from policy perspective in terms of what needs to be done, in terms of regulatory perspective, and that is why we are amending some of the regulations. We are also amending the laws to align to the global competitiveness.
For Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I am Ann Mburu.
And now to shed more light on this particular story, we are now joined by our senior reporter O'Brien Kimani, who is in Mombasa, joining us shortly to keep us up to speed. O'Brien, kindly take it away. O'Brien? Can you hear me? Take it away. We do apologize for that sound technical hitch. We will be back to hear what O'Brien has to say, but for now, let's proceed. Elders from the Greater Rachuono region in Homa Bay County have condemned last week's politically instigated clashes in Kasipul constituency that left 2 people dead. They are now calling on the police and the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, to take swift action on perpetrators ahead of the by-election slated for 27th November. Elsewhere, the Equitable Party, TEP, leadership has called on competing factions in various by-elections to conduct peaceful campaigns.
Speaking at Kandiege Trading Center in Rachuonyo West Sub-County, the elders led by their chairman, Fares Ogada, expressed concerns over rising political tensions in Kasipul, claiming outsiders were infiltrating local campaigns and fueling violence.
Lazima umwagikaji wa damu ikomeshwe, kwa sababu wale ambao damu yao yanamwagika chini ni ndugu na dada wa Kasipul, na hii hakuna haja, haitajiki. Haijalishi wewe unatupenda na mtu gani, lazima watu hao waishi kwa amani.
Those people
who are interfering with Karachuonyo by Kasipul election should stop it and let the people of Kasipul to do their job.
The elders urged security agencies to act swiftly and deal firmly with those behind the chaos, emphasizing that political interests should not compromise the peace of Kasipul. Further, they called on the IEBC to investigate the violence and disqualify any candidate found to have been involved.
Election Commission, which is conducting, should use the power, the conduct, and the rules given to steer up the election independently.
All associate members, Karachuonyo, Kasipul, and Kabondo are brothers and sisters. They are members of one family. And whatever is going on in any of these affects the other.
Last week, at least 2 people died in Kasipul after supporters of ODM candidate Boyd Were clashed with supporters of independent candidate Philip Aroko during campaign activities in the area.
Not necessarily around.
Similar calls for peaceful campaigns were made by the leadership of the Equitable Party TEP in Vihiga County during a meeting with the party's candidates.
IEBC decided to be a player on the other team as opposed to being a referee that they should be. They are trying to remove one of our candidates from the ballot, and our case is live in court. We even had a court hearing today.
TEP party leader Gilbert Shanga expressed confidence that his party will win seats in the upcoming by-elections. Meanwhile, campaigns for the Malava parliamentary seat in Kakamega County have entered the final stretch, with the leaders allied to the Kenya Kwanza administration campaign in the area to drum up support for UDA candidate David Ndakwa, accusing the opposition of having no agenda for the county.
Sisi tunataka Mkenya wowote, vile tunaamini kwamba baada ya kiongozi William Ruto, let also power ije hapa magharibi, watoto wa magharibi waongoze Kenya.
Wao ni moja tu, agenda ni moja. Hawana manifesto, hawana plani yote. They are very radarless, yani kwa rada wapatikani.
Now earlier on, we had a report which mentioned that Kenya is banking on collaboration with global accreditation bodies to address barriers to trade and investment. Our senior anchor and reporter O'Brien Kimani is in Mombasa. He'll be speaking to Engineer Brahim Hula, who is the chair of the Global Accreditation Corporation. I do hope that we will get to hear O'Brien right now. O'Brien?
Apologies, Carren Kibbet, of course, for that hiccups on sound, which has now been rectified. And of course, as I was trying to explain here, the whole of this week we've been talking about accreditation services, where you have more than 300 delegates from around the world converging here in Mombasa to discuss the way forward when it comes to driving accreditation services around the world. And of course, today we have had various presentations on what we need to do as a world to drive the uptake and of course to deepen accreditation services in Kenya, in Africa and beyond. Joining us tonight is the chair-elect for the Global Accreditation Corporation Incorporated. This is Engineer Brahim Hula. He's also the Accreditation Director in the Gulf Cooperation Council, which is based in Saudi Arabia. And he's going to help us understand what do we need to do to upscale accreditation services, and of course, what is the future of accreditation, not only here in Africa, but around the world. Thank you very much, Paula, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, O'Brien.
Would you please take a minute and help us understand, in the simplest of terms, what is accreditation?
You're right. Accreditation is not a simple term. It's a technical term. It's also an indirect effect on economy, and that's why sometimes it's not easy to understand. But if you want to put it in a story, we can take a story of a farmer, let's say Mwangi from Kiembu County, for example. He's producing avocado. And he's a hard worker and he tries to sell his avocado. Maybe he doesn't need accreditation and accredited services when he's just selling in his local market because he bases that on reputation and people trust him. But once he goes outside from his county and he starts to sell in other towns in Kenya, maybe he will need certificates of conformity and tests in laboratories to make sure that his avocado is free from pesticides and also is organic as he claims. So that time he needs a trusted lab, and that lab can be accredited locally by KENAS, for example, in Kenya for its activities. Once he wants to go and export, for example, to Germany or to Europe, then they will ask him, is this lab trustful? How can we trust that lab? And that's why comes accreditation that links the trust of that product conformity with other countries. And KENAS, the accreditation body of Kenya, has established a good accreditation system that was recognized worldwide. And KENAS has signed the multilateral agreements with 129 other accreditation bodies worldwide, where the results of that lab that is accredited are accepted in another country, and Mwangi can export his avocados without having his avocados tested again and stopped at the customs.
Well, thank you for that explanation. And so then the question comes, and you're talking about a world that has almost 200 countries in the world, but you have 129 accreditation bodies.
Yes.
Why? Is that a good number? Is that a bad number?
So the countries are different levels of development of their quality infrastructure. Some economies, they already have established accreditation bodies, and they have that activity of accreditation available for their economic development. Some other economies are still developing accreditation bodies. They don't have the accreditation bodies. And this is an example in Africa, for example. Not all African countries, the 54 accreditation services are available. We have around between 12 and 15 countries that have their accreditations available. Out of the 54 countries, which means that there's a lot of work to be done, to be developed. It is not the question of establishing an accreditation body for the accreditation activity only, is also, does the economy have enough activity and needs trust in their conformity assessment to create an accreditation body? And that's why we need first the quality infrastructure to develop in a level where it needs accreditation and it can export to other economies. Sometimes some countries, they choose not to create an accreditation body and to rely on neighbor countries with their accreditations, because that can be more cost effective. Instead of creating an accreditation body, there's another one who's already working and recognized, and they can provide for a reasonable price the accreditation to the economy.
So what I'm getting from you is there is a direct correlation between economic output and the number of accreditation.
Exactly, yes. And I think this is, what you say is very precise, because we have the United Nations Index for Quality Infrastructure. It's called QI4SD, which is Quality Infrastructure for Sustainable Development. And one of the main parameters of this index is the number of accredited conformity assessment bodies, number of laboratories, inspection bodies, certification bodies that are accredited. Because the more you have certification, inspection and testing required in the economy, the more that shows there's an economic activity that needs that. And that shows there's production, there's exports, there's certifications, there's buildings that need to be inspected, there's medical labs that need to be accredited, which shows that economic development. So the more your economy develops, the more you have accreditation activity used.
Look, for example, let's take this message home and come to Africa, and thank God you're from Tunisia.
Yes.
So you live in Saudi Arabia. We were talking about China with about 27,000 accreditations.
Yeah.
And this is one country with about 1.4 billion people.
Yeah.
Then you come to Africa, a continent of 1.3 plus billion people, and 3,000 accreditations.
Yes.
What does this say about the two countries? the two regions?
Economies, yeah. So I think first in Africa we have around 3,800 accredited conformity assessment bodies from labs, inspection bodies, certification bodies. And China maybe started their activities a little earlier than Africa from the economic point of view. But also the economical activity in China with all the exports, the diversification of industries that are covered in China is a little different from Africa. And I think what this says is that we have a lot to do in Africa. We have the potential, we have the people, we have the competencies, and we have the political will to do this. So I think we need to start working together for this. The other difference is that China is one country, so it's more easier for that economical activity to be moving products to be sold from one part to another. In Africa, we still have different countries. So we need to have the African Union and also the trade agreements, the FTA, the African AFC FTAs between African countries more and more strong and more effective to have not only the intra-African trade, but also the African market as a market. So when you have 1.3, 1.5 billion people, that's a very interesting market for investors and for exporters. And that will be maybe one of the actions that we can have together as African countries to develop our economies.
Mm-hmm. You are the incoming chair of the Global Accreditation Corporation Incorporated, which will be in charge of coordinating the activities of all these accreditation bodies. And so when you look at Africa, you're looking at 54 countries. And again, you look at China, it's one country, 27,000 accreditation. What do we need to do to break our barriers and ensure that we have as many accreditations as possible?
Yeah, I think it has to be a multi-step strategy. So accreditation is one of those components, but the quality infrastructure in the African economies has different components. So we have, the first components are the policies and regulations. We need to coordinate our policies and regulations so that we can have that African product mark, so that we have that free movement of people and products in the African countries. That's very important from the regulatory point of view. Then we come to the metrology point, where we have the accuracy of measurements, of production, weights and measures. Then we have the standardization. We have the ARSO, which is the African Standardization Organization. We had a presentation today that shows there's a lot of common standards. When you have common standards, the product that is produced in Morocco will have the same requirements and standards as the one created in South Africa or in Kenya. And that will help a lot for those products to be accepted between each other. Conformity assessment is the next component, where testing, calibration, inspections, where they follow the same methods. So if I test something in Kenya, I don't need to test again in South Africa because it's the same way of testing. That's also a coordination to have. Then comes accreditation, and finally comes the market surveillance. I think that for your question, we need to work on all these levels at the same time. We need to grow the quality infrastructure components together so that we can have the complementarity between the African countries, and we can get to the levels where the economy really benefits from the quality infrastructure. Mm-hmm. A multi-staged, multi-sectorial strategy needs to be there between African countries. I think it's already started with the African Union approving the work on Africa trademark, and also with the ARSO standards that have been developed to be common standards between the different African countries. We are on the way, steps are progressing, but we need also to think about the challenges coming from different economies worldwide with digitalization, artificial intelligence, and capacity building that needs to be established to get to that level.
You're talking about Africa, and this is a continent with about 1.3 billion people, an economy the size of about almost 1.2 trillion US dollars. And when you look at accreditation services, is there any correlation between economic output and accreditation services?
Thank you, Brian, for this question, because this is one of the main discussions we have at the accreditation community on how to evaluate the economical impact of accreditation in our economies. It's very important. Why? Because accreditation has an indirect impact on economy. We do not sell products directly. We do not affect the jobs directly. We work from the behind. So the next step will be the conformity assessment activities and then industry. And that's where we can have that effect. The effect of accreditation as the top of the pyramid of the quality infrastructure is a multi-level effect. So it has an effect at its own level for the people who work in accreditation, the people who do assessments, the income that is done by accreditation. Then it has an effect on economy by the accredited conformity assessment bodies that are accredited by the accreditation bodies for all the labs, the inspection activities, the certification activities, the people who go to the markets and make samples, those who make comparisons in labs, all those levels. And then comes to the industry where Mwangi, for example, exporting avocado, he will be able to export tons and tons to other countries because he has a certificate that proves the conformity of his product. So there was experiences in UK, Italy, and Australia where they made an estimation of the impact of accreditation in economy. In Australia, it's around $1 million Australian dollars per day as a contribution to the economy. In UK is almost a double of that, and also in Italy. And all these studies have been done in cooperation with universities where we have that multi-effect and multi-parameter equation where we can calculate the effect of accreditation on the economy.
Very well. As we come to the end of this conversation, I also want to hear from you. You're taking over the mantle of leadership of the Global Accreditation Corporation Incorporated in January. And this is going to be a momentous occasion. It's also going to herald the merger of two major agencies. One of them is ILAC, and the other one is the International Accreditation Forum. What is your vision and mission once you become the chair?
Thank you for this question. This was part of my discussion with our members when we wanted to have the elections. And one of the important points is that we need the Global Accreditation Corporation Incorporated to have its rightful position at the international arena. The fact that we had two organizations covering two scopes was always making confusion for a number of regulators and the positioning of the organizations internationally. We need also to have more economies involved in accreditation. As you have seen, we do not cover every country around the world with accreditation. Capacity building is very important. Coordination and inclusivity of accreditation to different economies worldwide is very important. And also our vision in accreditation is to have that one address for trust for conformity assessment worldwide. We try our best with the cooperation of all the regions to have accreditation making that address of trust and making regulators, economies and trade use accreditation as their main tool for trust and transparency. This is our vision for Global Accreditation Corporation, and hopefully with the cooperation from AFRAC and different regions worldwide, we can achieve that goal.
Very good. We wish you all the best, engineer.
Thank you very much.
We look forward to more engagement with you, even when you become the chair.
It's a pleasure, and it's always a pleasure to be in Kenya. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Very well. Okay. Engineer Ibrahim Hula is the Accreditation Director in the Gulf Cooperation Council, as well as the incoming chair of the Global Accreditation Corporation Incorporated. And of course, his swearing in is going to take place next year. And so we're looking forward to more engagement and, of course, to understand his agenda when it comes to driving accreditation services around the world. You've been watching us live from Mombasa. My name is O'Brien Kimani, and of course we're covering the first international accreditation conference which is taking place here at the coast. Thank you very much. Back to you, Carren, Kibbet, Broadcasting House.
What's wrong, Mom? It's too much. I can't keep this to myself anymore. If Nazario loses his memory, I'll end up empty. He is everything to me.
The only thing you'll provoke is more gossip. If Alonso finds out, we'll get into trouble.
Well, you're the one who caused these problems. Rodrigo convinced me to come back to him. He told me that he loved me and that somebody was trying to separate us, you know?
Lea Premium Flour, nurturing the world. Available in a store near you.
Kila mwisho wa juma kwenye runinga yako ya KBC Channel 1.
Tunakuletea Mkulima.
Ni kipindi cha kila mtu.
Iwe wewe ni mkulima mdogo, mkulima mkubwa, muuzaji au mnunuzi,
au yeyote anayenuia kuanzisha kilimo ama ufugaji.
Tunaanza kwa mbinu bora na za kisasa za kilimo, ufugaji,
fursa za kibiashara, kuongeza thamani, pamoja na teknolojia za kuboresha kilimo.
Ni chakula ambao kwetu sisi inatuletea mapato mazuri, watoto wanasoma vizuri.
Mkulima kisasa inakupa maarifa,
motisha na suluhu za kurahisisha mazao,
kuongeza kipato na kulisha taifa kwa ujumla.
Tazama Mkulima kila Jumamosi saa 10:30,
ambapo kilimo na fursa zinapatikana.
Mkulima, tuko hapa kwa ajili yako.
Welcome back to Prime Edition. Let's now take a look at what's making headlines in the world of business. Now, Kenya has unveiled a new artificial intelligence skills program in partnership with Google, targeting students in institutions of higher learning as part of efforts to build a workforce ready for the digital economy. Information, Communications and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo says the initiative will offer students 12 months of free access to the Google Gemini Pro plan, which offers advanced AI learning tools such as deep research and notebook LM.
Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo has challenged students in institutions of higher learning to pursue courses on artificial intelligence to complement their careers. Kabogo says the new AI skills program aims to align education with Kenya's goal of achieving 100% digital service delivery by, among others, leveraging artificial intelligence to boost productivity, attract investment, and accelerate transition to a knowledge-based economy.
We have a program in the ministry to hire 47 AI experts, and I'm hoping that from this program, at some point, we should be able to get these 47, one every county, to be an AI expert to help us train those that are in the villages, because we are planning to have 1,450 digital hubs.
The resources are designed to support academic excellence and encourage independent exploration.
We incorporate government and make sure that we learn and grow together.
At the Ministry of Education, through the State Department for Higher Education, we are committed to building an education system that nurtures digital skills, creativity, and problem-solving abilities.
They underscored the urgent need to address the skill gap and integrate AI literacy across all learning demographics.
Google Gemini communicated and implemented by every university in every part of this country, because we think the model that we are providing for the students is one of the industry-leading models.
Now, Kenya and Burundi are strengthening their collaboration in digital finance to boost the productivity of micro, small and medium-sized enterprises. Burundi's ambassador to Kenya, Ntahonkurie Emanise, says her country is seeking to harness Kenya's leadership in financial technology to expand access to finance for artisans and small businesses in Burundi. Here is Regina Manyara with the details.
Kenya's exports to Burundi were valued at $56.2 million in 2024, according to data from UN Comtrade. To boost trade, the two countries are rooting for integration of financial technology to expand access to finance for artisans and small businesses.
There are several strategies that can be used to increase the competitiveness of MSMEs, namely digitalization, product and service innovation, business process innovation, and marketing and sales innovation.
The partnership also seeks to support the digital and green transformation of small enterprises through digital tools while adopting renewable energy and sustainable production methods to qualify for emerging green finance.
Beyond these strategies, the importance of several supporting factors such as government support, access to financial resources, networking and collaboration opportunities are of paramount importance.
What is the volume, what's the capacity of all these people combined? It's a multi-billion business here, and yet they call it small.
Both countries are further calling for enhanced transport infrastructure and logistics connectivity to lower freight costs, ease movement of goods, and expand regional market access for MSMEs.
Long live MSMEs development in the EAC. Long live the collaboration between EAC member states. Long live regional cooperation. I thank you.
As exhibitors continue to have conversations in the 25th EAC MSME exhibition on Burundi Day, entrepreneurs as well as government officials drawn from Burundi said that they were ready to leverage on Kenya's advanced technological know-how in their financial services to improve trade not only within their country but within the East African community. I'm Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1 from Uhuru Gardens.
Je, wewe ni mpenda soka? Na je, wajua kuwa KBC mwenzio wako wa dhati michezoni anakujali? Ndio maana KBC Channel 1 hukuletea taarifa na uchambuzi wa soka.
CAF ndio wamechukua usukani
humu nchini, barani Afrika na ugaibuni, ikiwemo EPL, Serie A, Bundesliga na ligi zingine. Mashabiki pia hutuzwa kwa kujibu maswali kuhusiana na soka.
Swali letu la leo.
Haya yote ni kwenye kipindi cha Dunda Dunda kwenye KBC Channel 1 kila Ijumaa kuanzia saa 5 asubuhi hadi saa 6:30 mchana.
Nawahimiza Wakenya waendelee ku watch Dunda Dunda show.
KBC, wenzio wa dhati michezoni.
Welcome back. Thank you for keeping it KBC Prime Edition. Let's now take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. Now, Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya has reaffirmed that the government will fully support the National Deaflympics team, which will feature in this year's quadrennial multi-sport event, which will start this Saturday with an opening ceremony at the Tokyo Metropolitan Gymnasium. In a statement shared by the Ministry of Sports, Mvurya has rallied Kenyans to support the team, with the second batch expected to travel tonight, followed by the final group on Thursday. While the Tokyo Deaflympics will feature 21 sports disciplines, Kenya will compete in 5: athletics, women's basketball, men's handball. The Tokyo Deaflympics will mark Kenya's 8th appearance in the Games since its debut at the 1997 edition in Mark.
I'm really seeking you that when you go out there, put your effort. I know your coaches have done their work. We have done our work as a government by facilitating and supporting you. Now what remains is you to go and compete.
Nelly Chikombe and Anne Namunyak have earned their places on the final national women's rugby women's team that will represent the country in this weekend's Rugby Africa Women's Sevens tournament at the RFUEA grounds in Nairobi. Head coach Simon Odongo came up with a final team of 13 players after intense training and preparation that saw most of the main players retained while marrying them with new talent who are energized for the task ahead. The team will be co-captained by Sheila Chajira and France-based Grace Okulu, while the ever-reliable Janet Okello will be the vice-captain. The others are Naomi Amunguni, Christabel Lindo, Maureen Muruti, and Sinaida Nyachio, who have been consistent with their performance. Phoebe Akinyi, Edith Nariaka, Faith Livoy, and Freshia Owino complete the final lineup. The Kenya Lionesses will play their first game on Saturday against Cote d'Ivoire before they face Ghana. All the visiting teams are expected in the country by tomorrow. Now finally, the national football team Harambee Stars departed for Turkey earlier today ahead of 2 international friendlies against Equatorial Guinea and Senegal. Kenya will face Equatorial Guinea on Friday at the Emir Complex before taking on Senegal on the 18th at the Madan Stadium. Goalkeeper Brian Omondi said victories in the 2 matches would boost the team's confidence as they continue preparations for the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON. The friendlies will offer the Stars a crucial chance to test their strength against top-ranked opponents, fine-tune tactics and build team cohesion ahead of future competitive fixtures. And those are all the sports stories and stories we had for you right here on KBC Prime Edition. Now, before I leave, news that came in earlier on before the bulletin started from the Speaker, a notification from the Speaker, Right Honourable Moses Wetangula, is that the Member of Parliament for Isiolo South constituency has died this evening on Wednesday, 12th November 2025, while receiving treatment at the Nairobi Hospital. Until his demise, the Honourable Tubi Bidu served as a member of the Departmental Committee on Environment, Forestry and Mining and the Public Petitions Committee. Honourable Tubi was serving his first term as a member of the House. Previously, he was the inaugural Speaker of the Isiolo County Assembly, where he diligently served until 2017. Now, let us remember Honourable Tubi for his remarkable service and the positive impact he had on our nation. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family, friends, constituents, and all those who had the privilege of knowing him. May his soul rest in eternal peace. More details will follow in our subsequent bulletins starting tomorrow morning. That's all we had for you right here on KBC Prime Edition. My name is Carren Kibbet. Our sign language interpreter this evening has been Anne Njoroge. Do have yourself a peaceful night and enjoy your night. Good night.
For charity, dial *419#. Nakuona.